everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Okay, this video sort of evolved over a period of a few weeks because it started off just being a simple kind of midweek upload. It wasn't going to be a formal show really, but then it kind of just kept developing into something else and something else and something else. So if you remember, I went thrift storing, is that a word? Thrifting, a few weeks ago. I picked up a very promising looking Sony double-deck cassette player with Dolby-S, which if you know about cassettes a little bit, you know Dolby-S was sort of the cream of the crop in terms of noise reduction and was the very end of cassettes before they finally gave way to CDs. Anyway, I picked this thing up for $5 and what happened next was quite a saga. You're not going to want to miss this. And by the way, I was totally not prepared for what happened in the end.
This is Record-ology.
Okay, so perhaps you remember this show. This is a very small little show, just a video really, that I filmed at the thrift store a couple of weeks ago, and I picked up this beautiful Sony Dolby-S tape deck. Now, Dolby-S was right at the end of the cassette era, and it really represented the finest noise reduction that you could get out of a cassette tape. If you paired it with a metal tape, you could really get CD quality fidelity. So I thought this would be really, really cool. Now I have a Pioneer tape deck that works really well, so I don't need another one, but do I want another one? Yes. That's always a constant battle for me is do I need it or do I want it? And so yeah, I brought it home, I cleaned it up, I took a look inside because it wasn't playing tapes. And I'm like, what is going on with this thing? I looked at both of these tape mechanisms and aren't they beefy? I mean, you compare that to one of those Tenashin clones on a lot of those modern retro tape units. It became apparent quickly though, this thing just needed belts. And belts for these can be had, but you kind of have to dig deep on the internet to find them. On eBay, I found a guy out of Slovakia, of all places, that sells belts for Sony tape decks specifically, and this one included for about $11 or $12 with like $1.50 shipping, which considering it's going around the globe was pretty good. And sure enough, yeah, look at that belt in there, guys. Just completely melted and wound up onto that roller, which is a very, very common thing actually. So they perish and they, the chemical composition changes, they get too hot and they just turn into a goo. So I realized that I'm gonna have to put this project away for a few weeks and really pick it up once I've got those belts. So for now, I'm gonna have to put it back together and wait for those belts to arrive. But it didn't actually take too long, but I was mostly just bummed because I wanted to finish the project right then and there that day. So I had to put it into a box and set it aside until those belts came. Well, lo and behold, they showed up a couple of weeks later, probably about 3 weeks later, and they came all the way from Slovakia, as I said. This guy named Slavo does a great job, and you know what? Any issues that I had today were either equipment failures of the Sony or they were my failures, because his product and his service were absolutely fantastic. Inside the envelope, you get a piece of paper that has links to all kinds of videos and resources for you, as well as the belts, obviously. This model comes with 2 belts per deck. So I went ahead and bought the whole set just to be safe. But as you can see, he gives you all these YouTube videos depending on what model number you have. And at the bottom there, he gives you a link to his website and some pictures to let you know that you're not alone, because this is very much what these things do, these older tape decks. And so here it is in the envelope, in the little plastic baggie. It's 2 flat belts and then 2 square belts. The square belts, you can actually buy those online really cheap in bulk. But the flat belts, that was the trick. So I wanted to make sure that I got the appropriate size and ones of decent quality. So I'll put a link down to Slavo's website in the comment section below, but you can find him on eBay as well. Highly, highly recommended. Okay, it took me a while to figure out a lot of things, including how to get this clamshell, sort of the first top layer of this tape deck mechanism apart. Then I discovered this one lonely little screw in the middle was sort of holding everything together, even though some videos I had seen online didn't mention this screw. They only mentioned the ones around the edge. So taking care to make sure that I removed all of the ribbon cables and all of the little attachments like this one very carefully here. This thing is built like a Swiss watch because there are so many little intricate pieces and everything is engineered so precisely. And it's really admirable, actually, from a design engineering standpoint, how they can make this work, because every manufacturer is going to do it a little bit differently. So every little piece, every little sprocket is going to be done with purpose. And I think that's pretty cool. All right, here is the old belt fused onto the rollers, and they are just gummy. They're sticky. They have a lot of residue. They leave a little bit of residue behind, actually a lot of residue behind. So not only do you need to get the physical rubber or whatever material it is off, you need to go in and clean it with isopropyl alcohol. So I did just that. Once I got the physical pieces off as best as I could, I took a Q-tip and I soaked it with some alcohol, and then I went to town and I scrubbed every little bit and piece that I could find where the belts had made contact to try and get that off of there, because they're really sticky and they would just stick to new belts as well. You don't want to put a new belt over the top of that. So it was a little bit of elbow grease and some time, and boy, was that the trick to this project, time. As you can see throughout this video, the lighting just changes because I started in the morning and spent the entire day well into the night working on this project. Lots of twists and turns, as you will see. But for now, my mind is thinking, all I've got is a belt problem, and I'm happy to do that. Let's go ahead and replace the belts. I'm excited to finally get this thing working. Let's clean up the rollers here, get all of that gunk off, which needs to happen anyway, and there's the waste pile of broken belts and the new belts to contrast them side by side. For the smaller belts, for some reason, didn't perish, but the bigger ones did. So I'm going to go ahead and put new belts on anyway. This really complex mechanism here, I'm not sure what it does, but it was extremely intricate, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't do any damage or reposition anything when I was putting the belt on. Now, as you can see, there's these little prongs here that help you position the belt in such a way that when you put the top of the clamshell back on, the wheel or the roller that it connects to fits down in the middle, and then afterwards you can go ahead and slide the belt onto that roller. It sort of holds it away from where you can see that round area. That's right where it's going to connect eventually. So I did the same thing for these large rollers here, cleaned them off, and repositioned the new flat belt over the roller, positioned the correct way, and those little prongs to hold it in position while we reassembled it. I learned you have to be very careful when you're putting this together because it goes in a very precise way, and if it's even a little bit off, it's just not going to work. But once you get it seated properly, you can really feel it kind of click and snap down into position. It's still a little springy here. It wasn't quite lined up properly, but eventually I got it. And when it does snap down, when it does click down, it really feels good. It's truly satisfying. Okay, now, once we get it lined up, we can start to put the screws back into place and position those belts back onto the rollers. As you can tell, those little prongs there are positioned just perfectly to allow you to slide the belt off of them and onto their correct position. There's the all-important center screw. Let's go ahead and put it back on. And we should be back in business here in not too long at all. We got the belts put on, we got the old ones taken off, the rollers cleaned, all of the screws tightened down. And I'm really excited at this point, you guys, because I am only minutes away, or so I thought, from having a correctly functioning Dolby-S Sony tape deck. By the way, once you get them on the rollers, if they're not lined up perfectly, you can rotate everything and it kind of works it down into position, which is what I did. Okay, we're ready to go, right? We've got all the screws back on. We've got everything tightened up. I think it's time to test this out. But wait, I have another one to do. So I'm going to go through that whole process again off camera. I won't make you suffer through that again. But needless to say, I went through all of those steps again, got it all squared up, and now I'm putting it back together, and I am so excited to be done with this because at this point, I just want to listen to music on my new Sony tape deck, you guys. So it's very delicate, again, putting this all back together, making sure that those ribbon cables and everything are in the right place and they're not getting pinched by the front faceplate. At this point, I'm really getting to know this thing very well and where everything connects, and I'm getting faster about reconnecting everything. There was about 10 different cables there. I didn't show every single one of them. But you know what? I don't remember this little board here being kind of loose. I don't remember that at all, but I'm going to go ahead and connect everything the best that I can see fit to do. And based on my limited understanding of these, I know enough to be dangerous, and that's about it, which is probably why I had the issues that I had. Dang it, this door is jammed. That is not good. So something is jamming the first deck's door, and I'm going to have to figure that problem out before I can even test out the rest of the deck. So looking at the good deck, I can see it's a simple lever mechanism, but over here, it's just jamming up on that little metal piece. So what in the world is causing that? I want to take a closer look, by the way, at all of the linkage and cogs and wheels and gears working on the other tape deck that's working. Now this one has this little plastic piece right here that's blocking the works for that eject mechanism. For whatever reason, this little white plastic piece keeps working itself back up in there. By the way, I did take the opportunity to clean any time I got. There was dust absolutely every little nook and cranny, so I wanted to clean that all out. All right, now how in the world is this thing having yet another problem? It's not allowing the door to come out. It snaps in a really hard, bad way. So there's definitely something not working right. This little plastic latch thing is just jammed up in the corner, and I can't tell why it's doing that. So let's take a look at the other deck, which means I'm gonna have to take it apart, but that's okay. It's, you know, a big project. It's turning into a bigger and bigger project. But let's take a look at the working one to use it as an example. Now, these aren't identical decks. So this deck has parts that are on the right, whereas this one has parts that are on the left because they work in tandem. On the functioning deck, that lever is moving all the way down and out of the way, but on the other deck, it is just stuck up in there in such a weird way. And I noticed that the throw on these mechanisms at the bottom wasn't quite the same. So very gently, I pushed up, and I could feel it sort of give way in a way that didn't make me feel that I had broken it. It actually felt like it was just kind of gummed up a little bit, and perhaps I should have tried to lubricate that a little bit. But once I did that, that little plastic piece would move out of the way as it should, and everything seemed to be working in harmony. I'm so excited at this point, you guys. I'm going to put it back together one more time in fast motion, sort of a montage here, so you don't have to see me do this yet again. I must have taken this thing apart 400 times, it felt like. Seriously, probably 15 times, though, throughout the course of this day. And yes, we're not done yet, unfortunately. So I'm putting this all back together in the hopes that I have finally solved this problem, and I have a beautiful Dolby-S tape player. I am so excited. And by the way, I got to be quite an expert, at least I felt that I was, in terms of knowing where everything connected and how this unit functioned, except when it really came down to the actual problems I was having. I really had to learn every single time how it worked. Okay, got it all back together except for the top cover, and that eject mechanism is working perfectly, and I'm so excited. Hitting play, and nothing. The tape deck is completely dead in terms of actually moving. It's not responding to any of the buttons. The other one works fine, but this one doesn't do anything. If I put it over here and hit play, it works. I think we've fixed the problem. The belts seem to be working right. There's sound coming on the VU meters, but on deck A, I got nothing. So I take this thing apart again, and I'm like, what have I done? And then I remember this piece. Remember this piece right here? What in the world, you guys? Where is that supposed to go? Sure enough, it's supposed to plug into the deck. It wasn't supposed to be rotating on that little plastic spindle. So feeling like a complete idiot, which is no, new thing for me. That happens a lot. I plugged that piece in, but again, I'm excited because I'm like, yes, I think I finally figured it out. And you can tell by now that the light is starting to give way because it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night. I even put the lid on. I'm like, you know what? We did it. We did it, you guys. I think we fixed it. We know why the deck wasn't getting power. And sure enough, I put the screws back in, and we're going to go ahead and give it a test now because surely we have fixed everything. There was even another whole saga that I didn't include in this video where I took it apart again after this because I tried to move that mechanism into place, seeing if it was still gummed up, which did not fix the issue, unfortunately. So I decided to spare you another 5 or 10 minutes worth of me taking it apart yet again, but sure enough, I did. So I got everything back together. We're going to go ahead and plug it in. Surely this is fixed by now, you guys. It's a do or die for me at this point. I'm like, if it works, great, we fixed it, but I'm not taking it apart again. So I power it up, and I put a cassette tape in there, and surely this will work because we've got power to the deck. Everything should be fine. I even heard the deck sort of click and initialize for the first time, which was good, but once I put the tape in and hit play, still nothing. That mechanism with the tape head just will not come up. But you know what, guys? I've had enough of this project for now. I'm going to cut my losses and call it quits. All right, guys, and there it is. You know what? I had so much hope for this thing. It's so cool looking. It would have been great to have Dolby-S, but I'm way too OCD to only have one tape deck working. It's got to be all or nothing, you guys. So if you've got, maybe you're watching this and screaming at your phone or your TV and you're like, why doesn't he do this? Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you've got advice for what I could do. But at this point, I'm pretty much ready to cut my losses because I just don't know what else to do, you guys. That left deck just doesn't want to work. So anyway, I hope you thought that was a fun show, guys. That's all for now. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.